Ali. It's great
Hello.
to have you guys here.
Hi, Namita.
Today we are going to talk about outcomes, which, as you know, is an important theme at Enzia Ventures, and what also led us to invest behind you. So let us with our viewers share how CuriousJr defines outcomes and what's been your own learnings in the process. And while we start that, let me give a quick overview of Enzia Ventures. So for those who do not know, Enzia Ventures is an early stage fund focused on 3 sectors. These sectors are healthcare, education, and environment. We invest in these sectors because these are fundamental needs of the humanity, as well as they create large opportunities for innovation, especially as technology is becoming mainstream. Yeah, so just in my own words, maybe before I turn the table, so CuriousJr, and correct me if I'm wrong here, right? Like, so CuriousJr is a mobile-first vernacular solution to teach coding skills to children all across the country, very uniquely being built to deliver the entire learning experience on mobile phones. Amit and Ali, in your own words, what's the vision for the company?
So first of all, thanks Namita for believing in us, and thanks for organizing this outcome series also. So let's first I will talk about the vision of the company. So our vision is very clear: to be the most trusted edtech company for kids to acquire any technical skills in a gamified way. So now I will talk about how we actually started the CuriousJr and how we came together, right? So for this, first let's go back to the 2020 when everybody was talking about coding for kids. And at the same time, Indian government also launched the NEP, which is National Education Policy, to make the coding a mainstream subject for the kids. So Amit Ali and I met, and we all started talking regularly about this thing. And from that, we realized that we have a very big market opportunity with few of the problems to solve, which we as a team can solve given our experiences. So I'll talk about the 2 major problems. The first is 88% of the users do not have access to laptop, right? And the second problem is 79% of the users want to learn anything in their own native language. And if we talk about the solutions which started in 2018, they were only catering to the smaller sets of users who had laptops, right? And we as a team have the in-depth understanding of coding, given Ali and I are the self-taught coders. And with the addition of Mridul in our team, he brings the experience of the growth side in our team. And so we as a team is uniquely positioned to build this unique product so that kids can actually learn to code, and that too on the mobile devices. So here our strength will be to take the approach of product led, and that's how we have come up with the mobile first vernacular coding platform. So this is our journey, how we started the CuriousJr.
Good. So yeah, since the topic of our conversation today is outcomes, right? And just in one line, why we even talk so much about outcomes at Enzia, right? Because fundamentally, we believe, when you focus on customer outcomes, you are able to, drive value for them, and that helps drive one satisfaction, so that they stick with you, and then they will also help you spread, they help you to create your brand, right? Because now someone is so satisfied that they're gonna go talk about, like, the companies help me build, help me get what I needed to get from them. So that is the ultimate way to build large and profitable businesses. And when you do these in sectors like education, you're also driving great impact, right? So for those 2 reasons, we focus so much, and our conversations, in the past, in the last 9 months, have been so much focused on customer outcomes. For our viewers to hear how you define student learning outcomes, what's the journey been, and how have defining those metrics helped you?
So just I'll give some context. Vidul, myself and Amit belong to the educational background where our parents and our society were totally helped us to achieve what we have done. So we have been in the shoes of the kids, and we really understood in our journey what's important to really build over time. And since me and Amit are self-taught coders, we are actually civil engineers by degree. But but we taught ourselves how to code, and now we are building in the tech industry. So we really understand what really matters as an outcome. For the first part, what is really the thing that we are doing, the coding. The coding acts as a two-part thing for us. One as a skill and another as a medium. For a skill, we really want to teach the fundamentals of coding. How it is going to help the student is that they will be able to create programs and solutions from the existing academic subjects, as well as think of innovative solutions from their daily use cases. And for the project-based learning, we are using coding as a medium, so that existing academic topics, like let's say photosynthesis or some program or solutions from the geometry, these can be visualized through codes to the programs they write. They can create models from biology so that they can understand the systems better. For example, you can create, we have created an immune system project. So you will be able to understand what you are learning from other part of the academics through coding. So coding is going to act as a medium for them. And above all of these are going to improve the core skills of the kid. We want to increase the creativity of the kids. We want to build the problem solving skill of the kid. We want to improve the algorithmic thinking and critical thinking, because all these skills are very important for them to develop, and they will help them grow in every sphere of life. So that's the outcome part for CuriousJr.
So what's been the process, Ali, right? Like how and what have you really seen kind of working for you as you think about outcomes? Of course, you are looking to drive outcomes for students, but internally also, right? Like what does that mean for a company like CuriousJr to define metrics upfront?
So if we see our journey, you will get a feel how this outcome focus approach has helped us. First, from our initial hypothesis, since our journey has been a self-taught programmer and working in the education industry for 5 years, teaching professional and then for the college students, and now building product for the kids, we really understand what matters. So as the outcome, we talked, we made it our core, and that has helped us to develop a learning path, which we released very recently. So unlike math, science, and other subjects, there is no defined or readily accessible curriculum or learning journey for a kid. So with the outcome basis of taking basis of outcome, we are able to create age appropriate learning paths. And for the path, it is important for us to measure the progress of a kid. So this outcome, let's say we want to measure how much skill has acquired in critical thinking. So it helps us to suggest them better with better projects. And we also identify their interest, because kids have varied interests. Some kid is interested in mathematics, some are interested in creating apps and games. So with this outcome, we are able to really personalize the learning for the kid. But initially we started with block coding, which is a visual programming language. And we created projects which they will be interested in creating. We found one very important thing. They want to showcase their creativity to the world. So there is an angle of community there. So we created a 3-step learning process, which is learn, create, and publish. And this process has been working very effectively for us. Then there one very good insight we found. When we provided them with unknown problems in weekly competitions, so we found that they need to develop more understanding of fundamental concepts. So there was a need to break the bigger problems into smaller parts as a conceptual part of the learning. And also we found kids want to know where they are and where they will be after this learning process. So all of these led to the development of the learning journey, which we have released recently.
And you have recently released a new app and in which the structured learning path is much more visible. How are you seeing students kind of benefiting from it vis-a-vis, maybe your previous version of the app?
So one clear indication that we are getting weekly retention improved. So we are finding that students are continuing their learning journey on an app for a longer duration of time. And also we are finding there is an increase in the participation in the competition. The unknown problem they are more now comfortable with to tackle. So learning journey has really provided them a guidance that where to start and how to start, and we are building things on top of it, like creating more personalization on top of it. So we are seeing these trends right now with that release.
Which actually is a great validation, right? In some way, because we started by saying that outcomes is not only important for, for driving impact, right? Because typically it will be like, are you impact-oriented business that you're thinking so much about outcomes? But really what you are saying is, because I focus on outcomes, I have my learners for longer duration with me, and then they are participating in many more activities and events like competitions, etc., because they're able to see where this journey can take them. But measuring outcomes is not trivial, right? Like, so and being able to do work around it is not trivial. And when you're a startup, should you focus on this first, or should you focus on other things? When does it really become important to start thinking about measuring outcomes, and when should you do it, right? Based on your last 1 year of experience, what would you say now?
So I would say that we should start measuring the outcome as early as possible, because when we actually measure the thing, we get the opportunity to improve upon that. If I talk about the case of CuriousJr, we started measuring a small thing. So we are able to get to know where the students are getting stuck, so that we are actually able to assist them with our technology-led solutions. And finally, I would say that it actually helps us in getting to know whether our product is working or not. So, and it is very important to know these things. So start measuring as early as possible, I would say, for every startup.
And is it really hard to measure these outcomes? What does it mean in terms of the journey that CuriousJr would have had with or without the focus on customer outcomes?
So measuring outcome parameters here is very different from other products, because we are going to measure something which is going to be a value addition or a skill enhancement for somebody. So traditionally, we measure as a startup a product which is D1, week 1, monthly retention, but we have to have a DNA for education related metrics as well. So both has to come together. So education metrics, what I mean, if we have provided a learning path to a kid, how they are progressing, where they are stuck, what needs to be done so that they like move forward in the journey. So we have to reduce the friction where they feel they are stuck somewhere. So we have to build for that. So first is identification. These metrics help us identify, and then we create a solution for it. Just say, for example, we have created snippet system. You don't have to write much. We'll help you. Just focus on the concepts more. So those type of innovative solutions you can find only when you have appetite for measuring metrics from the education perspective.
So what I'm hearing is it takes a different way of thinking. It takes effort, but it is worth it.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right. How do you see like the challenges you've faced and the opportunities that lie ahead of you?
So first of all, I'll talk about the challenges. So major two challenges. The first is like building the solution for the smaller screen devices. So, and because there was no solution done before, so that was the major challenge for us. And the second challenge is, in India, there is no predefined Indian curriculum specifically for the coding for kids that can be followed to build these types of outcomes. So those were the two challenges. And if I talk about the opportunity, like we have the opportunity to define the India's first coding curriculum, which can be like very effective for the kids if we center the learner's outcomes. And actually, we are building a solution which is on mobile, and we can actually make the coding accessible to the masses. So these are the two opportunities that we have in front of us, and we are happy to have this.
Yeah, so maybe before we close this session today, right? It'll be good to for us to talk about maybe just a summary of your learnings, from the last year or so of the process that you followed, and what is the next phase of this outcomes based thinking and approach mean for CuriousJr, right? So perhaps one or both of you want to take this question and before we close.
Yeah, so one of our major learning is outcomes are very important for any company. And we strongly believe that if the outcome is very tangible and which is very clear to the customers, so that they can actually see what they are going to achieve. So they will get motivated during the process and they will get engaged with your product. And also, when we are focused on the outcome, it helps us in building a brand, and that is actually associated with the trust. So it helps learner to achieve their goal, as well as it is very important for when we are building the company in the education domain. It's important for the longer term. So I will let Ali to add some of the learnings here.
So I think we have started on a very good path. The learning journey has been one of our major achievements so far, and we would improve the learning journey as the technology is evolved. We will evolve, and as we find the student behavior on the application, we will evolve the journey as well. So that is one thing. Second would be that we would want to improve the learning experience. For that, we would want to work with experts and the learning professionals. So that's the second part. We want to make it really outcome delivered to the students, so that it can map to the core skills that we are targeting. Also for the kids, we want to scale the system. So another would be to reach as much as a student as possible with our infrastructure. And that's we are targeting to bring more languages, support both in the terms of coding as well as the mother tongue that we provide in our application to learn, and also to reach multiple. That is the immediate target.
Thank you for your time today, Amit and Ali. It was wonderful to speak again on the outcomes piece. This is what got us excited in the first place to invest behind entrepreneurs like yourself. And it's been a great journey working together on this approach, working together with you on helping build the company. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Namita.
Thank you so much.